Good morning, everyone. I'll try to be very brief because unfortunately Mariluz talked for a little bit longer than she should have done. I work at the Spanish Association for Primary Care. We work as a multidisciplinary association, and we've been working for many years now in the primary care area. And we have been focusing on integrated care, most particularly over recent years. We all know the current scenario, greater degree of chronic diseases, different models, and as the WHO says, we need to have people-centered care. Now, this change needs to be led by the health managers and the people working in integrated care. But to do that, we need tools, and we don't always have those tools. So in this context, our association that's set ourselves the following challenges: to identify the skills required by health managers for advancing integrated healthcare. What did we need to do in that case? What were the skills that we needed? Secondly, we needed to validate and prioritize these skills. And thirdly, if possible, to try to design a skill development training program. So bring it all together and to come up with a specific outcome. What we did in order to identify the skills, we brought together a group of experts from different autonomous communities, and we came up with the Sirocco plan. It's a maturity model. There are 12 different dimensions, and we went through these different dimensions one by one. Each of us, what the situation was in our autonomous communities with regard to our actions in the 12 dimensions, and what tools and knowledge and skills that we needed in order to move forward towards integrated care. Later on, we validated what we had designed in this team in the rest of the different departments and partners in the different autonomous communities, and we defined a framework with 11 skills that we believe are the ones that all of us need to have, those of us who are managing or leading integrated care. They are as follows: a systemic view, people-centered care, participation, communication, leadership, talent management, relationship management, innovation management, change management, resource management, and digitization. Later on, with the draft that we came up with, thanks to these skills, we shared that with the different autonomous communities, and many people were involved in validating this framework. In this phase, we also prioritized the skills. And there were 3: people-centered care, leadership and communication, change management, and digital transformation. These were the 3 priority skills. And based on that, we came up with a training scheme which had 3 areas: people-centered care on its own, leadership and communication, and then the third one would be change management and digital transformation. So the 3 areas coincided with the 3 skills that were prioritized. Now, we did all of this about a year ago. Last Thursday, we presented it to society in Leon, and we had quite a lot of media echo. And lots of other things were going on at the same time, because we have the framework and we have been focusing on these specific skills that we want people to acquire. In many of the autonomous communities of Spain, we have set up innovative experiences, fostering these competences, these skills. We have organized specific conferences and workshops on integrated care. We're running different courses and workshops on Twitter, visual thinking, creativity, communication, etc. Also, alliances are very important, alliances with other institutions, organizations, societies, etc. So, for example, we have forged an alliance with the Spanish Association of General Practitioners to try to work together. We've also developed different training actions, for example, with visual thinking and the Visual Health Conference that's going to be held this September in San Sebastian, with the Digital Health Foundation as well. Always trying to develop these skills that we have identified as priorities. And based on that, we've also developed a new project, in this case in collaboration with OSAKIDETZA and the Basque government, about digital competencies. The EU has identified the fact that digital competencies are very important for citizens, did that back in 2013. And so in the Basque government, its digital program, it has a program called Decanos, and it defines different digital professional profiles within the Industry 4.0 drive. And we've done the same thing, but not with regard to Industry 4.0, but with regard to health. In OSAKIDETZA, we are now developing our own digital profiles of the different primary care professionals as a first step. Now, the Decanos program has developed or set up a website in which each individual can evaluate themselves as a citizen, so that they can know what skills they need to acquire. And they also provide you with links to enable you to actually acquire that knowledge and that competence. And in our website, we are developing our own section which has to do with the health profile, the health digital profile. At the moment, we're focusing on primary care, and we're working on that at the moment. Well, I don't have time to go into too much detail here. But as you can see, we are based on the European framework of reference. We have the diagnosis tool, so that and we define what the profile each professional post should have, and then each citizen can actually carry out a self-evaluation on the website, so that they can get an idea of how they're doing and where to go in order to achieve the required level. And the different training can then be accessed in a very personalized and customized way. And just to conclude this project, I would say to you that the managers and leaders of integrated care must acquire new skills which are related to people, people-centered care, leadership, communication, talent management, and digital transformation, among others. And that we have created a framework of reference for integrated care management competences. And this is important because it enables each person to know how they're doing within this framework and where they should be focusing their efforts. And as a third conclusion is that alliances with other associations and health services are essential for the deployment of all of this throughout all the Spanish autonomous communities and at all levels. And that's all. Thank you very much indeed.
Muchísimas gracias, Marisa, por...
Thank you very much, Marisa, for that fantastic presentation, also for being so short and concise and brief. So we have a couple of minutes now for questions, for comments. There's one there, I think. Can you say your name, please, and the organization in which you work? My name is José Luis Olosua. I am the chairman of a volunteer group of elderly people. And my question is for all our speakers, because I want to talk about loneliness. What do you think about loneliness? Now, we have been working for many years to accompany people who live alone. Now, we work at care homes, day centres, and homes as well, those who live at homes. There are a lot of problems we have. Now, this year, we want to focus mainly on people who live in their own homes, particularly this year. Now, there are two ways of doing this. One is to have a personal presence of the volunteer with the person who's by themselves. And secondly, there's a tool that I think is very, very important, and that is the telephone. So we can ring up people and talk to them on the telephone when they're by themselves. What's the problem? Well, the difficulty is that it's difficult to actually find people who are actually happy for us to go and visit them, and then people who are actually happy to listen to them over the telephone, which is why I wanted to talk to you. Because through OSAKIDETZA, the Basque Health Service, perhaps we can reach out to these people. Now, why am I saying this? Why is OSAKIDETZA important here? Well, it is important because based on our experience, we can say that loneliness in and of itself is not just a case of being alone. It's the result of new diseases. And it's true that physicians have to see many more people. There's a greater cost on drugs, but not so much on people. So please work with us. Please work with us so together we can reach out to these people who are by themselves. Now, GPs can do wonderful work here. But if we can see that this type of loneliness is actually generating new diseases, different diseases, perhaps the GP can actually prescribe some kind of tool for these people who are lonely, who live by themselves, so that they can be accompanied part of the time as a way of preventing the emergence of new diseases and problems. This would be my request to OSAKIDETZA, the Basque Health Service. Thank you very much. I'm going to give each speaker a few moments so that they can respond to that. But first of all, I think there were some questions here for Marisa's presentation, because Marisa is still up here with us now. No? No questions, comments? Marisa, I would just like to ask you one question. What are your plans for the future? You have presented a very ambitious plan. What's the next steps? Well, we have representatives of all the different autonomous communities in a community. So representatives in each autonomous community, and all of them have different plans for the future. They have a different starting point, of course, as well. And what we're doing in our society is to provide different innovative experiences, or providing specific courses, or forging alliances with other associations, for example, the Association of General Practitioners, so that we can develop materials not just for leaders and managers, but for all different levels, so that we can all move forward together, because everybody is a motor or a driver for change. Thank you very much.